scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize. Which side
What is up?
Hey guys.
So this is Remarks. It's a podcast.
It is.
My name's Taylor.
My name is Phoebe.
And I just wanted to start off this episode by talking about how much of a sleigh the movie Megan is.
I told you. I knew you would love it.
So I watched it with podcast friends of the pod, Chris and Emily.
Mm-hmm.
And
Emily, number one fan.
See Patreon credits.
Mm-hmm.
And the part where she's in the hallway after breaking out of the fucking lab, I guess,
yes.
And then just starts dancing out of nowhere.
No reason.
We fucking died. We were all on the ground laughing.
Oh
it was so fucking funny.
It's so funny, and it's so funny because there was literally no reason. There was straight up, they just added that in there because Slay.
And that's every time she breaks out into song, it's just Slay. It's purely the Slay factor.
That was literally my favorite part of the entire movie, is where she's spoilers, I guess, whatever, guys. Where she's talking to Katie about the fucking little boy that she murdered. She straight up murdered. And Katie's something about heaven, and she was like, well, Jimmy's not going to go to heaven because heaven's not real. And then just starts singing Titanium of all the songs.
It's so fucking funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was just a commentary on tech, but also a commentary on Slay.
On Slay. Yeah.
100%.
Most of all, it was about the Slay.
I'd say the majority of it was Slay.
Yeah.
Slay related.
Yeah. Slay adjacent.
Slay
Megan
adjacent.
Oscars nom when?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Megan at the Met Gala next year?
I would genuinely shit my pants. I need this to happen. Please. Oh my God.
So good.
Oh my God. Yeah, I also just think it's so funny. There was all these articles that came out that was why does the LGBT love Megan so much? And it's because it's about a broken family or something. And it's no, it's literally because the doll is Slay. That's because the only reason.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's why we like her.
No further notes needed. Yeah.
It's not deep. It's not it's literally just because her outfits and her dances.
Yeah.
She's Slay.
We definitely were take a drink every time Megan slays.
Yep.
I went through
that's the way
4
to go.
beers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When me and Justin saw it at Broovies, which for our non-SLC locals is because we're not allowed to have alcohol at movie theaters. For those of you who are allowed to have that, congrats. Anyway, so it's the movie theater that is also a bar in our state, and me and Justin went to see it at Broovies, and we got so drunk because we played take a drink every time she slays as well, and she slayed way too hard.
So hard. It was hilarious.
It was so
Would
good.
recommend watching it with the knowledge that Megan is only slaying. If you watch it it's going to be an actual fucking horror movie, you might be disappointed. Although I feel if you're into campy horror movies, it was very camp. So
yeah. And that was the best part of it.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
we're back. We had a crazy 2 weeks, but we're here, and we love you.
True. As per usual.
Per usual, but whatever. It's fine. It's our podcast. Fuck off. We can do whatever we want. Anyway, we today have brought to you something very exciting. We're going to be talking about conspiracy theories.
What's the... So true.
Literally, one of my favorite things in the entire world is just conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I feel like I've never met one that I didn't like. In that, take that with a grain of salt. In that, I think that they are so fun, goofy. Yeah, are there many that are so harmful? Yes. However,
the non-harmful ones are very fun.
Yes,
for
and
sure.
it's just it's just interesting to see what people will latch onto and why and what it blows up into. Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah.
For example, Ancient Aliens, one of my favorite fucking shows. That show is just conspiracy theories. That's all it is.
For sure.
And there is some new show that came out. I might have been on Discover, and then it's on Netflix, something like that, or History, whatever. And it's called conspiracies, somethings, and cover-ups or whatever. And anyway, that one's great too. It's on Netflix.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. You know me with the show recs.
True. Always with the show recs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the conspiracy theories. I love how like wacky, like I don't know, like I love the X-Files. Obviously, it's such a good
so
show.
Good.
And literally, my fucking like username on like most things I do now is like Cox Mulder because I just think it's funny. But like, yeah, no, I think like I don't know, it's just fun to like go down the rabbit hole. I guess, and wear the tinfoil hat for a moment.
Totally. Well, and also, and I mean, I get it. Question everything.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Chemtrails, are they real? Are they not?
Well, and that's like another thing is, and I've heard like this is as like a conspiracy theory, is that like the fake dumb ones are there to like cover up the real conspiracies that happen.
Totally.
Because there are instances throughout history,
genuine, real,
where there have been like Watergate. That was a real fucking conspiracy. Like it's not just a theory. It happened.
And like there's so many actual real government cover-ups and things like that like. Plenty of people didn't question or look into for years, and then they did later, and it was a fucking conspiracy. Whoa. It was a cover-up. It was like a group of people that conspired to make this thing happen.
Oh, yeah.
But
it's crazy. And, oh, fuck, what was I going to say? I don't know, I might have lost it.
That's okay. Bring it back. If it comes back, interrupt me. But anyway, so I'll get into it, and what I'm going to be talking about today. My article today is called Illuminati Confirmed.
Yeah, of course. The triangles.
The triangles. So I feel like there's been a recent resurgence of a sort of like satanic panic, body switching, devil worshipping conspiracy theories that has made me warmly remember back to the days of numerous YouTube videos exposing celebrities for being part of the Illuminati. Do you remember that? And there was some that were like people genuinely believed it, and then there was a bunch of these like Illuminati confirmed, where it's just like zooming in on like a triangle in any
and then it was
place.
like Windows Movie Maker text like with like a blank blue screen, and it was like, does this actually confirm that Justin Bieber is part of the Illuminati? And then it like cut to like that clip, and it'd zoom in really close, and then it'd be like, you decide after that on the same blue text. Yeah, the Windows Movie Maker YouTube days were really something.
Prime YouTube time. And so I feel like the modern Illuminati confirmed-esque videos that are like Gen Z's version of this are like, for instance, the criticisms of Balenciaga's questionable like bears wearing harnesses campaign. That went fucking crazy.
That was fucking wild.
It was like over the top, and I get it. Like looking at it, I was like, I think, you know,
it's weird.
It's weird, and it was definitely not the right choice to put children in the same ad as where you're having like sort of BDSM adjacent things. But like the amount that this went to was like, this is not what's happening, guys. Like, no.
Yeah, chill out for a second.
Yeah. You know, there was like a slew of TikToks picking apart like each of the photos in this campaign and claiming that the fashion behemoth was like sacrificing children and worshiping the devil, and was like at the same time implanting secret signs of this into the ads. Which, why would you do that if that's what you were doing? Also, which is the funniest thing.
That's what I always like. That's kind of the big question with any of these, really, is like, why would they leave you breadcrumbs?
Yeah.
You know?
Why would they tell you? Like, if they're really truly sacrificing and kidnapping and whatevering children, why would they? Anyway, whatever.
And that's, and I've heard some people be like, well, they want to like signal to other pedophiles that they're doing this. And I'm like, these, if you're talking like giant CEOs, they don't have to email each other. Yeah, they don't have to signal to anybody.
And they did. Proven in Jeffrey Epstein.
Exactly. Like
they literally just emailed each other.
They just emailed each other. It's not, they don't have to. Yeah. It's, I don't know, you're weird for thinking that.
Anyway. You know, another one was the Grammys performance of Unholy. That struck a chord with TikTokers as well. Claiming that Sam Smith and Kim Petras were performing a satanic ritual on stage.
That's just true, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They fully were opening a portal to hell.
But it was a sleigh portal.
Exactly. A portal to slay, really. Sam and Kim were both wearing all red. They were singing about being unholy. And Sam was wearing a top hat that had, like, plastic devil horns on it. And people were, like... And people, I think, too, who were doing it, like, genuinely... Not because, I don't know, I think they got caught up in, like, the talk of all of this. But we're doing it not because they, like, hate gay people and trans people, but because, like... They really, like, got convinced that this was some satanic fucking thing. And I do feel like, I personally feel that a lot of this sort of modern iteration was kicked off, or at least was, like, kind of heavily refueled by the TikTok satanic panification of the tragedy at Astroworld. That was another one that was just, it got so fucking out of hand. Many people, adults and teens alike, speculated about this disaster, trying to equate it to some sort of like ritualistic sacrifice instead of what it was, which was just a horrific tragedy and a terrible like
planning,
negligence. And, you know, Travis Scott was not trying to sacrifice anyone. I'm sure he wished that never had happened. It just was like a poorly planned festival with no security, and they spent money on the wrong things, whatever. But, you know, there was this huge wave of all of these TikToks, like picking apart all these really weird parts about it and saying that it was like this satanic ritual. And it's like, it just was a sad thing that happened.
Yeah.
And so all of this harkened me back to the 2000s and the 2010s when YouTube was riddled with videos of celebrity performances, speeches, outfits, ad campaigns, picking them apart and finding clues that led people to believe that these celebrities were part of the Illuminati.
True. Yeah. Huge if true.
Huge if true. And it would be huge if true.
It truly would be, yeah.
And so what is the Illuminati? According to conspiracy theorists, and it's so wide in its so many people believe different things, but like I think in the simplest terms, it's a group of elites who have banded together to rule the world. Celebrities, politicians, big business moguls, etc. have joined forces in a secret cabal to control and shape the world to serve them and their plans for world domination.
Yeah. Think globalists, think New World Order.
Exactly.
Think Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Yep.
Think, I mean, you've heard this. Think even like the Q stuff.
No,
like
exactly.
You've heard this a million times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It took the words out of my mouth. Like these modern day Illuminati conspiracies definitely have influence from and roots in other conspiracy theories such as you said, New World Order, the Freemasons, Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and this like just idea of a shadowy cabal kind of thing. And we can guess one of the ways that this gets one of the largest ways that this conspiracy can get dangerous is anti-Semitism.
Oh, yeah.
Like many conspiracy theories, if you dig deep enough, or like really not even that deep at all, if you just kind of like look at it for 1 second, you'll find the anti-Semitic nugget at the core of these beliefs. The Illuminati, like the Freemasons, started out as something completely different than it developed into, which I'll discuss later. But as with most conspiracies, when it planted roots, they dipped into the well of anti-Semitic rhetoric that lies underneath. The idea that one particular group is seeking world domination and attempting to conform the world to their modus operandi, the idea of a cabal lurking underneath the surface, the connections to Hollywood, etc. All of this comes together to just like go back to the origin of all of this, which is basically just the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is really like at the root of most of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's Q, it's this like spiritualist stuff. It's
I mean, there's a ton of it that all leads back to there if you follow like even like a good majority of the ones that we've done for Cult Month. Like,
totally.
If you, especially the New Age stuff, like if you follow that back, it goes to like Nazi spiritualism and like Nazi occultism, which are then obviously like co-opted the Protocols of the Elders of Zion and used for themselves, which originated in Russia. Like it's just this whole like fucking thing,
Yeah. Like almost every single time you can just lead it back to this. The American Jewish Committee addresses the anti-Semitic roots of the Illuminati conspiracy, and they say this, quote, "Historically, the Order of the Illuminati refers to a secret society founded in Bavaria by Adam Weishaupt in the late 18th century to advocate for secularism. However, during the interwar period of the 20th century, fascist propaganda claimed the Illuminati were a subversive element which served Jewish elites who were behind global capitalism and Soviet communism, and were plotting to create a new world order."
You gotta love, excuse me, you gotta love when they're behind capitalism and communism.
Yeah, right.
They're like the two biggest like polar opposite ideologies in the world, and it's like, no, it's all the same.
Yeah,
it's all the Jews.
It's
like,
always
it's fucking crazy.
The conspiratorial stance on the Illuminati, as well as its related conspiracy theory of Freemason controlling Jews, are built on classic anti-Semitic themes, including the notion of Jewish control over the world, the meddling by Jews in global politics, and the Jewish plot for complete power over world governance. End quote. So, I mean, there you have it, right?
There you have it.
Some Illuminati theorists believe that these elites have sold their souls to the organization in order to reap the benefits of fame, notoriety, and wealth. Some believe they've sold their children to this organization. I mean, there's any number of increasingly paranoid beliefs of people who they claim are in this organization, of the things that they have done in order to become a part of this.
It would be interesting, and maybe this is this upcoming October kind of episode, but the Satanic Panic, doing a whole thing on that.
Oh, I thought about that too. Ooh, yeah, I think we really should, because I think that would be, I mean, that's one that you could talk about for 16 episodes straight. Oh, yeah. I don't even, there's so much.
There's whole podcast series, just seasons of a podcast, 16 episodes of just going through the specifics of that. But and especially because it's there's different eras of it. It's weird.
Totally is. And I mean, I was just saying, I feel like we're seeing a total resurgence of it, of this same sort of rhetoric that it's they were talking about this shit in the fucking 60s. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
There was one talking about, I think a Beyonce song where it was if you play it backwards, you can hear her saying devil over and over. And it's they literally said that about the fucking Beatles. You guys.
Led Zeppelin, come on.
Yeah, why are we doing this again? Yeah, but so yes, we should definitely have a chat about the Satanic Panic.
LMAO.
Some Illuminati theorists, Beyonce has been the biggest victim of Illuminati conspiracies. I'm sure you have heard all of the fucking Beyonce shit. Her massive global fame, top charting songs, and her husband Jay-Z have all made her an easy target for the Illuminati tinfoil hats. Theorists have picked out the symbolism in her music videos and performances, which often include a lot of religious iconography to point her allegiance to the group. I mean, so many of her music videos and performances and things use Catholic imagery or Beyonce is God kind of imagery, such as pretty much every other fucking music person has done.
Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Sorry, never ever want to equate those two. We love Kendrick. We hate Kanye. Kendrick Lamar just did a performance where he wore a Jesus crown. I mean, these things.
Well, and not to equate those two, but Kanye literally toured around doing fucking gospel music for a second.
He has said he literally has said he is Jesus.
Come on, God. Yeah, but I don't know. I wonder if there's some kind of misogynistic or sexist undertone to that as well.
I think there probably
I'd have to look into it more.
Yeah,
because I feel with a lot of the pop celebrities, it was Beyonce and Justin Bieber and things that teenage girls which everybody knows that there's nothing that weird 30-year-old men on the internet love to hate more than just teenage girls and what they like. You know?
literally. Jay-Z has been speculated to be an Illuminati member since the beginning of his career. He had a pretty quick rise to fame and then had a pervasion in the music industry, had a large pervasion in the music industry rather quickly. And this had theorists using every angle possible to connect the rap legend to this supposed cabal. Perhaps the easiest connection to make is the symbol associated with Jay-Z's record label called Rockefeller Records. Jay-Z and others signed to this label would often hold up a triangle hand signal in photos as a shout out to the label. And this, of course, sends the tinfoil hats into a panic because of their association with the Illuminati to the Eye of Providence.
Oh.
Ooh.
Transition to what is the Eye of Providence?
What is the Eye of Providence?
What is the Eye of Providence, I hear you ask?
Also, I do just want to say it was really funny because I was scrolling through Twitter today or something, and I think it was the SAG Awards that just happened, and there was two women, I cannot remember who, and they were holding their fingers together to make a triangle symbol, and I went into the replies immediately because I was is this going to be an Illuminati thing? And they were just doing a sorority symbol. I forgot that funny. Can also be a thing.
Yeah.
But the Eye of Providence, quote, or also known as the all-seeing eye of God, is a figure that depicts an eye often enclosed in a triangle and surrounded by rays of light or glory meant to represent divine providence, whereby the eye of God watches over humanity. The Eye of Providence is a widely recognized symbol, giving it instrumentality in the fields of iconography and semiotics. A well-known example of the Eye of Providence appears on the reverse of the Great Seal of the United States, which is depicted on the United States $1 bill. As we've all seen, it's like the pyramid, but the top is cut off, and then there's an eyeball and a triangle floating above it, right?
Yeah.
And we've seen this symbol all over the place. And it's been since, like, equated with, of course, the Illuminati, Freemasons, The eye being enclosed in a triangle, as well as the use of the pyramid in Illuminati and Freemasonry imagery, has made the triangle symbol a staple of Illuminati conspiracies. And the internet practically imploded in 2013 when Beyonce flashed the triangle hand signal at her Super Bowl performance.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah, yep. I assume is Beyonce on the same, is it like for the record label?
Yeah.
Is that like,
yeah, she's on Jay-Z's record label. It was just her doing the record label thing. And she maybe was even doing it as a little like nod to this, which I'll get into. But yeah.
Free publicity, baby.
Exactly. Exactly. But you know who's not part of the Illuminati?
I wouldn't be so sure.
I can't say anything.
It's
us.
Yeah, no,
we're so not part of the Illuminati.
Believe nothing.
Don't look any further, because we're totally not in the Illuminati.
Definitely don't look into that. For sure. Yeah.
That's why we're so wildly successful.
It's true. And Illuminati, if you're listening, hit us up.
Yeah,
I'll join.
Talk. Let's chat.
I want to be in all the secret societies I possibly can be in.
Same.
Truly.
Yeah.
I want to be in the Masons, Skull and Bones. Yeah. Fucking some weird University of Utah frat. I don't know. Sign me up. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there, but
I'll just be
part of it.
Yeah. I'll wear a little pin or something.
Yeah. No.
Why not?
Give me a pin. Yeah.
Fuck it.
Let's have a handshake. I don't know.
Yeah. I love a handshake.
Yeah. Me too.
We should do one.
Yeah. We'll make a remarks handshake.
Okay. We'll do that during the break.
Like one of those fucking the 21 Pilots like symbol thing. We'll do that, but like that's how like fellow Remarks fans can signal to each other that they're fans, you know.
I'll have to post the picture of us trying to make like a hammer and sickle out of our hands that one time at breakfast, and that can be our hand signal.
True, I would love that. Yeah.
Anyway.
Woo! It's back time.
It's back time
to be back.
So cute life update. Today, I heard a little knock at my door, and I thought it was my internet person, so I like woke up in a start, and I like threw a robe on and went to answer the door. And then no one was there, and then later I was like sitting in my living room, and I kept hearing this little noise, so I opened up my back door, and there was a little note taped to it from my neighbor who's like 11 years old, and I guess she used to be pen pals with whoever used to live here. And she was asking to be pen pals, and of course I was like, abso-fucking-lutely.
Of course
I will be your pen pal, you adorable 11-year-old girl. And so I wrote her back, and then she wrote me back like an hour later. So anyway, I have a pen pal now, and I am so excited about it.
Be happy. We can tell.
It's going to be the most fun thing ever. And Daniel was like, we should all write her letters. And just like all get into it, because I think that would be so cute.
Adorable.
I know. Anyway, Beyonce, Illuminati, triangles. So, as I was saying, during this Super Bowl performance that she did, she flashed up the triangle, supposedly Illuminati hand signal, but it's also the Jay-Z
record label
thing that they do. It's like supposed to represent like a diamond or whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
But this definitely could have been like a nod to the people saying that she's in the Illuminati, because during this Super Bowl performance, she performed the song Formation, which the first lyrics directly address this Illuminati accusations, and they are, y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess.
True.
She says it right there.
And y'all, and the haters were being kind of corny.
They were being very corny.
You gotta give it to her.
They were.
She was right.
She was correct.
Yeah.
And Taylor, like you were saying, a large part of me has to wonder, do these connections between Beyonce and the Illuminati and like the Jews to the Cabal have anything to do with seeing an oppressed group rise to a place of power outside of their like rightful place, quote unquote? Like, obviously, Beyonce is a black woman. The Jewish have had a long history of oppression, and it's like the little shred of like Beyonce has obviously I don't know that she's not like writing fucking laws or anything like that, but she has a large like influence on the like social sphere, and so people see this and think this is wrong because she's a black woman, and so they have to like, oh, this could never have happened. And so obviously she sold her soul to a secret cabal in order to whatever.
Well, and I feel like it definitely, if that's not like what's behind it, that's definitely what has like people will use against her, you know, or like they'll use these conspiracy theories to like, I don't know, hate monger. Because I mean, it's what the fucking, like, again, going back to it, it's what the Nazis did with the protocols of, like, the protocols of the Elders of Zion was just like a shitty racist like joke, basically. Like it was supposed to be like irony and like it's not funny because it's very anti-Semitic, but it was supposed to be like this, you know, those Jews controlling the world, and the Nazis were like, yeah, this is real, you should take this seriously.
Like, they just took it and ran with it. And so and I think even like if it's not conscious that they're, while people are, you know, spreading this like rhetoric of Illuminati thing plus Beyonce, I think it's definitely an unconscious thing of like, this is a black woman who's gained any sort of like power or notoriety in society, and therefore, you know, whatever. And so what is the true story of the Illuminati, and how did it become this anti-Semitic, Beyonce-bashing conspiracy theory that it is today? So formed in 1776... Whoa, American independence. Not in America. By Adam Weishaupt, the Illuminati was born out of the Enlightenment movement. Weishaupt was a professor at the University of Ingolstadt in Bavaria, which was controlled by a harsh Catholic authority. And so inspired by the minds of the Enlightenment, who wanted to progress society to a more science and reason-based methodology, God fucking forbid that you use science and reason to control society instead of a made-up god. I'm
really glad that now, like in our current day, 2023, that we've left all that behind and we purely use science and reason to get through life and make our, you know, political and socioeconomic decisions.
Yes, always. It's really relieving.
It's great. I'm so glad. Yeah.
Me too. So, using he wanted to use, and in the Enlightenment movement, they wanted to use science and reason to control society. And so Weishaupt created the Illuminati. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong also. I think that's right. But apologies. I don't speak Bavarian. Yeah. He created the Illuminati, and this was a group of his brightest students who met in secret to discuss enlightenment. They would write and read together, and they would plan ways to loosen the grip that Catholicism had on their lives. That's it.
That's the whole thing.
That's it. That's how the Illuminati was born. It was just a small group.
It was like a book club.
Literally. It was like the Dead Poet Society, kind of.
Yeah.
It was just a small group discussing science and how to make the Catholic Church stop being such assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I do think also, I'm sure a lot of listeners know history and know about the Catholic Church, but like the Catholic Church was literally controlling like the government. I mean, you want to talk about a shadowy cabal? It was the motherfucking Catholic Church.
It still is a fucking shadowy cabal.
It is. Like, I mean, they were creating laws. They were dictating what was being taught in schools and how it was being taught. They were dictating what Adam Weishaupt was being able to teach as a professor at this university. Yeah. Like, it was not just like, oh, popes and Jesus and shit. It was like, this was what society was it was the Catholic Church, and it was a hierarchy of people and status and class. And anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, like, how many, like, quote unquote, like, radical groups just started off as like book clubs, because for a good portion of history, books were very illegal, certain ones.
Exactly.
Like, and I mean, I can think of, like, I think the Ukrainian, like, anarchist movement against, like, you know, the, like, the Tsarist Russian government was, like, basically started off as people just exchanging, like, Kropotkin and stuff.
Right.
You know?
I mean, even the Black Panther Party.
Oh, yeah.
A large part of that was just books.
Yeah, just
reading books.
And pamphlets and shit. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
But yeah. And so where this group, the Illuminati, started to gain more of the reputation that they have today is from when they began to expand. So the aim of the Illuminati, and even when it was just Weishaupt and his students, it was to get members of the Illuminati into positions of power in order to infiltrate the Catholic Church and these associated groups that controlled nearly all aspects of society. And, you know, I mean, this was not in a nefarious way. This was literally just, this is the only way we're going to reclaim any sort of power that is outside of, like, this extremely strict, religious, secular thing. No, you go.
And that is in a way like kind of a conspiracy.
Yeah.
But it's like not what people think it is, you know? Right. It's like they were trying to get into like the high ranks of power, but it wasn't to like control 9/11, you know? Like,
right.
Like,
back
then.
They were conspiring, but it's like, yeah, you can also conspire to like, I don't know, go to fucking brunch. Like it's not, you know, anyway.
It's like most protests that are done like underground are conspiring, you know? Like...
Right. And so the Illuminati at its core, the true Illuminati, was a group of rebels who were sick of religious and tyrannical control. And so as members of the Illuminati gained higher positions and attempted to recruit other members, such as professors, princes, etc., they discovered that many of these men were already part of a group that had similar ideals, the Freemasons. And this is another subject that we could spend an entire episode or several on. Yeah. And so for now, I'm just going to leave it at this. The Freemasons were an older group who had similar goals to the Illuminati. They were a bit more successful, and they definitely had more like set rituals going on than the Illuminati had at the beginning. Kind of just for like shits and gigs. And yeah, they are so dorky. It's like they did it sort of just for like camaraderie. I mean, you know, they have the handshakes and they have certain like little things that they would do, but again,
it's like a D&D group.
It really is. But it's like, and like I said, I'm giving you in the most simplest of terms here, but again, the Freemasons really were a group that wanted to just change the aspects of society as they knew it. There it is. Sorry. When members of the Freemasons joined with Illuminati members, rituals and hierarchies definitely began to become a more pervasive part of the group's meetings. And it really sort of, the Illuminati and the Freemasons kind of started to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
The Illuminati was essentially disbanded when Bavaria outlawed secret societies, and this was happening in a lot of places in Europe. And this is also, the Freemasons went out when this happened, sort of, you know. Little strings still existed, just as they did with the Illuminati. But overall, these secret societies were outlawed, and so a lot of this fell apart. Several attempts were made to recreate the Illuminati, but these all failed, and the Illuminati, as it was known, fizzled out of existence. And so how did this small, ambitious group become twisted into what the Illuminati is known as today? In the 1960s, a group of anarchists...
Whoa.
who aimed to cause disruption and civil disobedience, decided to write a religious text as a joke.
It's always a fucking joke.
It's always a joke. This was called Principia Discordia. Again, if I'm saying that wrong, sorry, but it's a literal joke, so it doesn't matter. This was a religion, quote unquote, again, so ridiculous that it was meant to make the reader question all religions. And so this came about, this was the 1960s, when it was almost like a second enlightenment where people were starting to be free thinking, and they were doing LSD, and they were having these open minds, and it was the summer of love, and they were like questioning the way that society was set up. And so this was written, and this little group came together being like, hey, what if we sort of wrote this ironic text to point out how fucking ridiculous like Christianity and all of these things are? And so this group, who eventually called themselves the Discordians. They sent letters to celebrities and like writers of the time, inviting them to join the Discordians, and they were perpetuating, quote, conspiracy theories so insane that people would never believe in conspiracy theories again, as written by Jesse Walker for Gizmodo, which of course, as we all know now, went horribly wrong.
That was their big mistake, is thinking that you could ever write something so insane that someone's not going to believe it. Like, that's, And of course, as we can still see today, like, obviously those, and that's, I don't think that's what Q was doing, but like, it's not possible. You can never, someone will always take the bait. And honestly, I feel like, and that's it. It goes back to like one of those things where it's like, if the more like insane, and like you see with like fucking doomsday cults and shit, I mean, too, like, if you're like, if you get like a certain point, like so deep on something, you're just going to keep doubling down.
Exactly.
And especially like, you know, it's like with what happened with the Illuminati, like they had to like fizzle out because they like cracked down, and people like almost look at that like, oh, well, now it's even more real because like the government is actually stopping it, or, you know, like stopping it, quote unquote, you know, like.
Exactly. And I mean, it's the same thing you see with like, you know, anti-vax misinformation where the videos will get taken down from YouTube and shit. And they're like, the government doesn't want you to know. Bleh.
Exactly.
And it's like, and the problem is, and I'm like going off now, but the problem is with a lot of this shit is that like, that is what happens a lot of the time. I mean, look at right now. You were talking about books being banned. Look at what's happening now. Look at like...
It's like in Florida, right? Where like they're banning books from schools.
Like almost every single fucking... Like every book in the library. And, you know, the government does take down certain videos that are actually true, real information. And the government does try to sway you from gaining information that is anti whatever it is that they're doing. And so there's a nugget of truth in all of this, right?
Yeah, think of your fucking high school education. They didn't tell you shit about like what America's actually done, how we literally made, like, that we inspired the Nazis. Like, they don't tell you that shit. Like, they're not going to, you know?
Right. And, you know, whenever, if you would ask a question about communism where you were like, that actually sounds cool, they're like, no, don't ever bring that up again. That could never
actually work. Karl Marx was a nutcase. Like, I remember one of my teachers said that. He was like, Karl Marx is a nutcase. Like, he had terrible ideas, but we have to go over some of his economic ideas and stuff. And like, I was like, whoa, okay, like, so some of his ideas were fine, but like, you're just call him a nutcase. I don't know. It's just funny how it's framed. I don't know.
And so when this project, the like Discordians thing, they were sending letters out to people, you know, whatever. This sort of fizzled out into nothing. Writer Robert Anton Wilson and one of the writers of the Principia Discordia, by the last name Carey, they decided to start another project that was rooted in the idea of Discordianism, the idea of they wanted to encourage society to think by causing chaos.
Yeah.
Which, again, didn't really go that well. But I get what they were going for. And so they began sending letters to Playboy, which was the magazine that Wilson worked for at the time. And they told stories about the Illuminati. And I have a quote from an article on BBC.
So it's literally just pre-fucking 8chan Q. Like, that's almost exactly
basically,
what they were doing.
Like, and
except
like,
Q maybe isn't like ironic about it, but
yeah, like I think that they had, I don't know, not necessarily innocent, but they had like okay intentions with this. They weren't trying to like start a racist cult or whatever. They were trying to be like, hey, if something so crazy can be published in a magazine, or, you know, you hear these crazy things, why don't you question everything else that's going on as well?
Or maybe you shouldn't believe what is just fed to you.
Exactly. And so here's the quote from BBC. At the time Wilson worked for the men's magazine Playboy, he and Thornley started sending in fake letters from readers talking about this secret elite organization called the Illuminati. They would send in more letters to contradict the letters they had just written. So the concept behind this was that if you give enough contrary points of view on a story, in theory, idealistically, the population at large looking at these things and think, hang on a minute, says Bramwell, they ask themselves, can I trust how the information is presented to me? It's an idealistic means of getting people to wake up to the suggested realities that they inhabit, which of course didn't happen in quite the way they were hoping, right? And so that says it there. You know, they were hoping that they can say, oh, look at what is being fed to you. And then you have these contrary points of view and what is real, what isn't real. You should start to really think about everything that's put in front of you. But again, as I've said 100 times, really didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And so Wilson and another Playboy writer went on to write the Illuminatus trilogy, which if you look at like the covers of these books now, it's like hilarious and it looks so stupid. Mm-hmm. But because people are people, they bit right into it.
As they do.
So the Illuminatus trilogy, this claimed that many famous conspiracy theories and government cover-ups, such as the assassination of JFK, were done by the Illuminati. And so this trilogy, which gained a bit of popularity at the time, went on to inspire the use of Illuminati and Freemason conspiracies and imageries in other pop culture works. Famously, Dan Brown's book, Angels and Demons, which people also read this work of fiction and got all crazy about it. Did you just look up the books?
I just looked up the covers and the like combined cover. I want to kind of do a little live reaction for you. Mm-hmm. The combined cover, all of them, it has a checkerboard with a triangle with an eye in it, and then some dolphins jumping over the top of it. I mean, it's very nostalgic of like old like 90s
like vaporwave
covers, but like yeah, like you're gonna pick this book up and be like, this is the fucking book, dude. This blows the lid off the whole thing. Like
it's like giving like 70s 90s pulp fiction vaporwave, exactly. Like spiritualist new agey.
Satan was a lesbian.
A lesbian. Like remember when like not remember because we were not alive, but like there was this whole period of time where pyramids were like this huge thing, and it was like the power of the pyramid.
Yeah.
So it's very much that.
The food pyramid, I think, came probably from that. It goes all the way to the top.
And so with the mixing of true stories of the Illuminati and Freemasons, as well as made-up and conspiracy theories into the popular lexicon, the idea of the Illuminati became tied to elites, Satanism, aliens, ancient societies, and the establishment of the American empire. And I don't personally believe in the Illuminati, obviously. I don't even think the idea has that much weight, but I think it's easy to see how these sorts of things become nasty undercurrents of thinking in modern society.
Totally.
There does seem to be a group of elites that control the world, and it does seem that they have untouchable power. What you and I and our listeners all know is that the real answer behind this is simple. It's money. Money is the real and simple reason why certain groups are able to hold more power than others in society. And not simply because they're a secret cabal of soul-selling, Satan-worshipping, baby-eating aliens, but because they came from privilege and power. And because we as Americans have allowed celebrities to hold so much power in our society, that's why, like, they have so much influence over what we do. It's not because Beyonce sold her soul to this fucking group of people in scary robes. It's like, it's literally just because we have allowed her to hold this much power. Like, we care so much about celebrities' thoughts and feelings on things, and then on top of that, they have massive amounts of wealth that like it creates this like false sense of they're pulling the strings of the fucking world or whatever.
I mean, and I think it's just very interesting because it's like you, as like society, we would rather believe in like these things. At least there's groups. So obviously it's not everybody.
Sure.
There's groups that would rather believe that like there is these people behind the scenes that are pulling all the strings than admit that like wealth, like we have a society, like our system is built on people who have way too much money, like
exactly.
And I don't know if it's because like you think that you want to be that and like you think you can achieve that kind of wealth, or if it's because like people don't want to see like the arrogance and like them like worshiping somebody that like again is so like something that's so unattainable to them, but like whatever it is, like it's so interesting that like you would rather believe this, and it goes for like the Q people and like literally all of these groups. You'd rather believe in this than again accept that like capitalism is bad,
right well, and I think too it's like I don't even know that it's like easier, because it's like you're never gonna, if there truly was an Illuminati, you're not gonna be able to overthrow them any easier than you would be able to overthrow like the system of government that the United States has. But like I think it's easier to believe or easier to like handle, I guess, than like, hey, literally every single thing about the way that like your everyday life operates is like rooted in evil and racism and sexism and all of these things. And I think also a lot of these people don't believe in racism and sexism as well, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I think it's like same thing with Q. Like, instead of just believing that like Democrats and Republicans are both evil, and, you know, there was a pedophilic cabal that was going on that was like this huge operation that was honestly pretty on the fucking surface. Like, it's more interesting or less scary almost in a way to believe that it's like Hillary Clinton sucking baby blood than just like, no, the society that we have built allowed this to happen and even encouraged it, frankly. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know what the like I don't know like what the answer is, because I think it's the problems of the world and like really everything are just so complex, you know? Like even like ideologies that like I agree with, anarchism or communism, whatever it is, like they still have problems with their ideology. There's still it's still like nobody has like all the answers to everything, right? So I guess when you can like pin it all on like this group of people are making everybody's lives miserable, it's just easier to buy into that than it is to be like, well, okay, I don't like this system, but now what do we do? You know?
And I think that's largely what it is. And so my reason for wanting to talk about this today, regardless of the fact that like the Illuminati conspiracy, I think has mostly died out at this point, or it doesn't hold nearly as much of like the public conversation as it used to, whether that be ironic or not, is the resurgence of these sorts of beliefs that we see over and over, and the intertwining of them all. You know, Satanism, lizard people, Elders of Zion, Pizzagate, QAnon, shadowy cabals, Illuminati, Freemasons, whatever. These all come from these anti-Semitic beliefs that started as, for lack of a better word, as you were saying, jokes. It was a joke. And they were all born out of this fear of an oppressed class regaining a fraction of power. And so when we see these TikToks dissecting like the unholy Grammy performance or fucking Astro World or Doja Cat's new like hat that has devil ears on it, you know, it's like, it's important to not laugh these things off no matter how fucking stupid they might be, because like it is really stupid, but also we're seeing this new wave of people who are young and who are a part of like progressive groups turning back towards this conservative like belief in Satanism or cabals or whatever it is, or it's adults trying to convince a younger crowd of that, right? And the worst part is that can easily turn into something much more sinister that can explode into like, you know, a huge anti-Semitic movement or a huge anti-LGBTQ movement or whatever it is, or this weird purity culture movement that I think is it's a whole other episode, and we should definitely talk about that at some point. But I agree. Anyway, the end.
The Finn.
Finn.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break ski. Yes. Because you know who doesn't believe in secret cabals? It's also us.
It's us. We don't. Well,
we do.
I believe in like certain ones, but not the ones.
I don't believe in like the weird ones.
Yeah.
We just believe in the ones that are like
true,
real. That actually are happening. Yeah, it's rough. Anyway. Break
time.
Second break. Hey. Back in black. Hit the sack. as the song goes. So true. All right, well, we're going to be talking about something that Phoebe briefly mentioned in her little article, which was the JFK assassination, brother. I've been waiting to talk about this one.
God, because this is one I can genuinely get into.
True.
That I'm like, no, but like there's something here.
It's very interesting, and I think the interesting part is that like people are so hung up on like the government telling them like what actually happened, and I'm like, y'all, the government's not going to tell you if they actually killed JFK.
No, never.
There's a very real possibility there was more to it than like people say.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think you're gonna find it in like government declassified files. Like,
right.
They're not gonna tell you they killed a president. Like, come on now. Anyway, so there is a plethora of conspiracy theories out there around the killing of the 35th president of the United States of America, John F. Kennedy. On November 22nd, 1963, JFK was in a parade crawling around the streets of Dallas, Texas. A little after noon, he was rolling through Daley Plaza, I believe, when a bullet, supposedly, air quotes, shot by Lee Harvey Oswald, punctured his head and killed him. Not only was this an incredible shock to the American public, it has been the source of an astounding amount of conspiracy theories, ranging from possible to absolutely fucking insane.
Yes.
I, for one, love a good anti-government conspiracy, as we were talking about, and am no novice to the JFK conspiracies myself. So I want to talk about a few of them.
For a second, I was like, who the fuck was the guy that killed Lincoln? Because John Wilkes Booth. I was getting him confused with Lee Harvey Oswald, and I was like, how old is this motherfucker?
One fucking post about how like weird the Lincoln and fucking Oswald presidency assassinations are. I mean, Lincoln and Kennedy.
Yeah.
I'll have to pull it up at some point.
Yeah, but anyway. Enlighten us.
So, theories about the assassination have been permeated since the killing in 1963 and have warped into what we now see as general like New World Order and Illuminati conspiracies, as we were talking about. Let me, for the record, as Phoebe stated, say that I'm not supporting any kind of anti-Semitic thoughts or ideas by discussing some of the theories.
Amen.
So,
I just think, sorry, not to interrupt, I just think it's literally impossible to talk about these things because, as we said, like, it all links back.
It all goes back.
Literally, like 99% of anything, cult or conspiracy or anything like this, winds up being something fucking anti-Semitic.
Well, and I think that it's part of like the weird conspiracy culture that exists now, where like everything just gets lumped into like they like take what the last one did and then just like keep going with it, and it's all part. It's like it's the same way that like Flat Earth and anti-vax and Q are all just the same thing now.
Exactly.
You know? Like it's all the same people. You know.
Yep.
But yeah. So the main theory that a large majority of theorists held for quite some time, and this is probably one that's less pervasive now, but was the theory that our old communist friends in Cuba were the ones who were behind the killing. It's no surprise that anyone listening to this podcast that the CIA attempted, or it's no surprise to anyone listening to the podcast that the CIA attempted to murder Fidel Castro more times than they've actually done anything helpful in the world.
In the most craziest of ways.
Proponents of this theory say it only makes sense that Castro would attempt to retaliate, and Oswald was known to have communist ideals. This is further exacerbated by the fact that Oswald took a trip to Mexico City in September of 1963, stayed there until October, where, again, a month after that, he ended up killing JFK. While in Mexico, he attempted to contact Cuban and Soviet officials.
Oh, I see.
Some believe he made contact and they ordered him to carry out the plan to kill JFK. Castro denied all allegations, saying that the risk that would have been involved in a plan like that getting out to the world would have nuclear consequences. And I think it's interesting because I really don't think that Castro had anything to do with it, because this was also post fucking Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I mean, I don't know exactly when JFK was involved, because I know there was definitely, like JFK was definitely involved in some Castro shit, but I feel like after that they were on more amicable terms, you know?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like as intense as like, I don't know, say Nixon or others.
Exactly, yeah. Now, as I said before, Oswald held some communist ideals, but it's hard to say what he actually believed because he was killed shortly after the assassination took place. Other theorists believe that anti-Castro / communist groups were behind the killing because of their severe dissatisfaction with the Cuban Missile Crisis negotiation, as well as the Bay of Pigs invasion. You might be wondering why anybody would be mad about JFK avoiding a nuclear apocalypse, but I must remind you that we are talking about not only Americans here, but Americans in the 1960s.
Yeah.
And
they fucking hated communists.
And nobody had toxic pride worse than like America in the 1960s.
Jesus, I know.
They were like, oh, yeah, blow up the world. Just to prove that we're big, strong men about it, honestly. Yeah.
It's so funny because that time period really was truly like, I mean, I feel like it is sort of a lot of what we're seeing today in the division of where it was like, hippies, you know, laying around and being like, everything is bad and, you know, what's happening in America is wrong and let's do drugs about it and let's like, you know, not conform. And then it was people literally like nuclear family, nuclear war, like
nuclear everything, really.
Nuclear all over the place.
JFK also decided to withhold military support for the Bay of Pigs invasion, which famously did not go very well. See Phoebe's episode about that whole fiasco. This has fed into what we will talk about more a little bit, which is the CIA conspiracies. Still others claim that our old friend Lizzie B. Gislers, or for the newbies, Lyndon B. Johnson, welcome, gave the order to kill Kennedy because he was unsatisfied with the policies and decisions being made by the current president and thought that he could do a better job. There was a former CIA employee, E. Howard Hunt, that stated that Johnson directly gave the order for the shooting to take place. However, Hunt was also convicted in the Watergate scandal and may not be the most reliable source of information when it comes to CIA orders.
Oh, God.
One thing I'm sure you've heard about in like the JFK conspiracy realm is the second gunman thing. So the second gunman theory, many believe that if you can prove that there was another gunman on the scene of the crime, and more specifically on the grassy knoll, that it would prove that Oswald was not working alone and had other hands guiding his to pull the trigger. There was a claim that some police microphone recording had been recovered that proved that shots were heard fired from the school book depository where Oswald was, as well as where the grassy knoll was. So there was like multiple shots going on. Some video footage also showed JFK's head shooting backwards, which some claim would be the wrong direction if it were just Oswald. I personally feel like if you get shot in the head, your head's probably going to fall backwards at some point.
Right.
So I think that's a thin argument. And the audio was later debunked as not being real.
Yep.
So that, again, I feel like a lot of times, you know, when you hear like the big conspiracy, I think the fucking conspiracy bros of Fox Mulder in the X-Files are called the lone gunman. It's because of like the second gunman on the grassy knoll thing.
Yeah.
This brings me to my favorite conspiracy theory, and one that may be crazy enough to just be true. Not only are we looking into the CIA potentially being the ones involved, but also another old friend of the pod, George H.W. Bush himself.
Oh?
Yeah, intrigue.
My God.
I know.
Oh my God.
It is highly suspected by conspiracy theorists that George H.W. Bush was working, well, and this one is kind of, I feel like, true. George H.W. Bush was working with the CIA much earlier than he became the director in 1976.
Which I feel like, yeah.
Is probably true.
Right.
Bush was working with a man named Felix Rodriguez, and the two were attempting to recruit Cuban anti-Castro dissenters to use against Cuba in the Bay of Pigs invasion. Oliver North's journal, as well as documents obtained from Felix Rodriguez, placed Bush's activities in Miami and Texas. So again, right where they were going to be launching the Bay of Pigs. So, I mean, it's almost 100% confirmed that Bush had involvement with the CIA on some level. I think he was probably a CIA operative, but he's never confirmed that, I suppose.
Sure.
Bush was presumed to have been traveling a lot for his company, Zapata Oil Company. However, the oil company didn't have that many oil rigs around the world, so it raised some questions as to why Bush would be traveling as much as he was. Some allege that Bush was using work travel as a mask for his activities for the CIA. When asked of his whereabouts on the day that JFK was murdered, Bush said that he did not recall.
The classic, I do not recall.
I don't recall. And that's like, I feel as though that's like asking an adult person, like our parents' age, like, what were you doing when 9/11 happened and them not remembering? You know? Like it was a huge thing. Like
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. And
where were you on 9/11, Mom?
Exactly, Mom. Mom did 9/11.
Mom did 9/11.
But yeah, a little suspect if you ask me. I guess it's possible he just doesn't remember, but
yeah.
Or
also, it's like, when did they ask him? Because he was so fucking senile at one point.
Senile.
They just like waited until he was like so senile to be like, he didn't know.
Yeah, weird that he didn't know. Reports state that HW was in Tyler, Texas, giving a political lecture or something of that nature when the news reached him. People attending the lecture said that he cut the lecture early and left. It is then reported that HW booked a flight from Tyler, Texas to Dallas, which is weird because it's only a couple of hour drive from Tyler to Dallas. Some believe he was taking a short victory lap or reviewing how everything played out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he went to Dallas pretty much the day of, and he got a flight. So kind of weird.
Sus.
Some of the key motives people cite for why HW would direct the assassination were JFK was embarrassed by the failure of the Bay of Pigs invasion and was considering dissolving the CIA altogether. This again is just hearsay, but supposedly the CIA could have been protecting itself from JFK abolishing them.
Right.
In addition to this, the Democratic Party through JFK was considering a bill that would revoke the oil depletion allowance that allowed many oil companies' executives from receiving their tax breaks.
Mm-hmm.
This would also be another reason for conspiracy theories that believe that George H.W. Bush would be involved in the assassination of JFK because he was an oil mogul.
Right,
as they say.
Which, like, I mean, that one, that feels credible to me.
That feels like it could actually have happened.
Yeah.
And not even just H.W., but like all the oil moguls in the
world.
Totally
coming together. An oil cabal, if you will.
And a cabal drenched in oil. A
conspiracy of oil cabal oiliness.
I'd say
of all the men are probably really oily too.
Oh yeah, they're so
disgusting.
Like so well, yeah, I know for sure. Like the men themselves probably are just like oily and greasy.
Ugh.
I was thinking more of like a sexy cabal of oiled up men, but that was just where my mind
that's
went.
Taylor's fantasy.
Sorry everyone.
Come back to reality.
Let's yeah, so I mean I think that one is probably more credible that like the CIA would have been involved at least.
Yeah.
Especially if there was like those like big money tax breaks on the line.
Well, and especially too with the whole like Russian oil plus American oil thing going on and the fight for like that and just I mean the power of oil in general that we know exists in the world, like
yeah, and even probably more so back then in the 60s, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of where George H.W. Bush's like involvement comes in. Again, it's one of those weird conspiracy type things that people are probably, drawing lines that aren't there, but like
totally
there's some sus things about it, I guess. Again, H.W. denied he had any involvement in the CIA up until he became the director. And again, I think that's a conspiracy we can definitely say is not true because he was obviously involved in the CIA.
Yeah.
Some of the other insane theories are pretty fucking insane. But I figured we would mention them because they are so fucking insane.
No, let's do it. I love it.
Some believe that the JFK shooting was the result of an accident by one of the Secret Service members, which sounds crazy at first, but it was theorized that Oswald missed JFK and a Secret Service member panicked and like his gun went off. So there was a shooter, but he didn't actually hit JFK, which explains like the head thing. I don't know.
Interesting.
In some circles, I suppose, but
sure.
No one else in the car recalls there being like ricochet or like bullets flying by.
Right.
Like the bullet that was shot like hit JFK supposedly. So yeah, that's where that one comes from. Another large source of theories have to do with the infamous Umbrella Man, who is seen in some of the photos from that day. I remember I watched some like fucking weird History Channel shit on this.
Yes.
It was a sunny fall day in Texas, so why is this guy holding an umbrella? Is basically the crux of the argument.
Yeah,
you know?
He doesn't want to get sunburned.
Exactly. I think the umbrella guy actually came out and said that he was doing it like it was actually it was like a protest thing. From what I read, but yeah, I don't know. Woody Harrelson's dad has been implicated in some of the theories, basically just because he was in Texas at that time. Like that's like all the ties that like the article I read gave was like he was in Texas.
So could have been him.
Could have been him. Yeah.
You never know.
Also, I saw some shit the other day about Woody Harrelson having like some anti-vax shit on SNL.
Yes, I saw that like today or yesterday or something.
I watched the like monologue and I didn't really hear. Well, I guess at the very end he kind of had like a joke. It wasn't even like he didn't say like anti-vax or even mention like COVID at all. It just was like, I don't know. We'll have to watch it after. But
yeah, we'll talk.
We'll see what you think of it. Tell us what you think of it, listener.
Comment your thoughts on the Woody Harrelson SNL anti-vax conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory, yeah. Another large source of theories have to do. Oh wait, no, that was the Umbrella Man. Already said that. Of course, we have our classic, as we were saying, Illuminati or secret Cabal theories that always seem to sneak their way into the mix. And then my personal favorite is aliens.
Oh, there's always aliens, and it's always so great.
And this is real Fox Mulder stuff.
Yeah.
Some have stated the aliens could have been the ones who organized the hit on JFK. This is a classic tin hat ancient alien stuff. It's thought that JFK was going to reveal the existence of aliens to the public, and that caused either the aliens themselves or someone high up in the government to order his extermination. These are the kind of things that make me mad about like conspiracy theories, because I feel like there's genuine questions and like cover-ups, and then people are always like, but it could have been the aliens that actually shot with a rifle JFK. Do you ever think
from
about
space?
That? From space, yeah, and then framed Oswald. It's crazy. Yeah, no, for sure. So one of the reasons why I brought up this topic was because of the releasing of many of the JFK papers that happened just last December.
That's right.
December 15th, 2022, the Biden admin dropped 13,173 documents relating to the investigation done around the assassination at the time.
It's a lot of documents.
Very much so. But, however, the full collection contains over 5 million documents.
Holy fuck!
Like the JFK, like, investigation collection, I guess, is what they keep calling
the Criterion collection.
It has 5 million documents.
Fuck.
So 13,000 is really not that many.
Yeah, that's nothing.
But, however, most have been available since the 90s, actually. And now over 97% of the documents are available to the public. You can hop on fucking archive.gov right now, and you can read, again, 97% of the documents that have been released. And trust me, people have been reading them since the fucking internet was invented. Like the moment they put those up, there's been conspiracy theorists like coming through that shit.
Let's do it. Let's get to the bottom of it.
Oh, I think we can do it. Yeah.
We have the time.
Some are always going to wonder about the remaining 3%. However, Biden administration said there should be about one more year of reviews until the full collection is released. So I guess we can look forward to that.
Yeah. What I want to know is how much of that is redacted, though.
True. Yeah, there may be.
Every time that there's like some release of whatever kind of documents, it's like 50% of the shit is redacted. Like as with MK Ultra.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm like, that's not fair.
Let us see all of it.
Yeah, come on, guys. God.
I want to know. But again, I feel like it kind of goes back to the idea that like, do you think the government's gonna like release documents that implicate itself
exactly
in the murder of JFK? Like,
right.
Even if they do release it, like if they're gonna redact everything that would even be an issue, like
right.
And that's what's hard is it's like, you know, the JFK papers. They showed that like the CIA had like eyes on Oswald because of his like communist activity and stuff, and like they could have stopped him, but like they didn't know he was like gonna go and kill the president, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's at least again according to the documents. It depends on if you believe again if the government's gonna literally admit to a crime or not.
Exactly.
But they're not going to. So. Could the CIA have been behind JFK's assassination? It's totally possible. They've tried to murder so many people.
So many.
And been really bad about it usually. But but again, like I don't know that everybody was like kind of ranting and raving over this like doc drop back in December.
Right.
And I was like, they're not gonna tell you.
No. Like there's never in all of the things that have ever been released, like there was like something somewhat recently as well that was like released of like Area 51 things or something, alien something, and it's like whatever. I don't even know my thoughts about aliens, but if anything was anything, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Anything that's actually interesting, we will never know.
You're not going to be able to Google it.
No.
And find the information, you know?
Right.
Like that's what's like I think is so silly is like
yeah,
and it goes back to like what we were talking about with Q and stuff. Like, do you think some fucking dude who has like all of this like this government insider knowledge is gonna share it to you on 8chan, like
right.
the board where there's like child pornography and
exactly
Nazis? Like, no, like what, you're fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, like I think the people that have secret information are not giving out their secret information. Just like if Balenciaga or Wayfair was really like trafficking children and doing satanic rituals, they wouldn't like do it in front of everyone's eyes. It would be a secret, just like
want to keep it
most
a secret.
Things are that are actually bad and actually secret. Like, you know, actual pedophile rings are not gonna like leave breadcrumb trails because they think it's like fun.
Exactly.
They're gonna just like email each other and be like, hey, send me a kid, and then they will. Like it's
not that crazy.
Yeah.
But Finn, that's the fun story of fucking JFK conspiracies.
Yeah, I love it. There was also wasn't it Robert Kennedy who was also assassinated?
Yeah. Robert Kennedy, Bobby Kens. And then Q thought that he was like alive.
That's
still.
Right. Oh my god.
They thought they saw him and he was like part of it all. I don't even remember because I looked it up when I did the Q episode, but I don't remember even how he like fucking got involved.
Yeah,
in
there
it,
was
but,
there's always a whole thing. But but there is a really good TrueAnon episode talking all about like the conspiracy theories surrounding the Bobby Kennedy assassination, and man, I was convinced.
Yeah, there's a lot. They go deep. They go deep.
They do.
But you know what else goes deep?
These plugs. You plug them in, and you keep pushing, and they keep plugging, and
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. Check out our Instagram at Remarks Podcast. Look at pictures of things and stuff. I'll post the Umbrella Man.
Yeah, post the Umbrella Man. Post the book covers for the Illuminati.
Yes,
trilogy.
I do need to post that because those are very funny.
Lovely to see. Yeah, you can check us out on twitter.com at remarkspod. You can check out my music. It's Taylor Lacey. I make little folk songs. Pretty cute. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please.
5 stars, please.
You can also follow our personal Twitters. Mine is at Phoebes Elise.
And mine is at Vegetable Trash.
I feel like we're funny. So if you feel like laughing sometimes.
Yeah, we have some quips here.
Yeah.
And there.
Also, I'm posting the saga of my little neighbor writing me, so that could be fun to follow.
Yeah, you can follow that. It's cute.
Yeah. Be nice to us. That's all I ask.
And the Daniel fucking Brandy.
Oh my god.
Melville.
That's right. Yeah, my boyfriend Daniel can never remember like the name Brandy Melville, and there's all those like Brandy Melville jokes about like skinny whatever. And so like whenever he's trying to make a Brandy Melville joke, he doesn't remember her name. So every time he makes one, I just like write down the wrong way that he said her name. So I have a whole thread of that on Twitter that's pretty funny.
Brandon Maxwell and shit like that.
Braxy Whoville.
So good. Anyway, also you can follow our Patreon.
Our Patron.
Yes. If you have $5 extra and want to hear some fun bonus content.
Yes.
Big thanks to our patrons. We have Tere Soltero.
We have Andrew Vass.
We have Jameson Cherry.
James, you're back. Hi.
Hi, James.
We have Emily Doran.
And Justin Vass.
We love you. You're hot. You're sexy. You're beautiful. You're fun. You are the backbone of society. You are.
I would agree with that.
The Illuminati of my heart.
Oh, yeah. The secret cabal.
You have a secret cabal on my love.
Exactly. Oh, it's good. It's we have fun here.
We have fun. Oh, man. Anyway, thanks for listening. And, okay, love you. Bye.